This video is to kind of educate everyone on a DRR and what are the things that we're doing with DRR and where the units have changed. So when you compare them side by side to other units, other manufacturers, you can begin to see the value behind a DRR. Typically, it'll take about $8,700 worth of upgrades to another manufacturer's model to actually have it meet the specifications of a DRR. And we're going to go over each one of the pieces now, and we're going to discuss what makes the individual feature have a lot of value to you as the buyer and a lot of value to you as the salesperson. There's a whole bunch of features that are really important when you consider buying an ATV. One of the most important that we think is making sure that the ATV company that you're purchasing from has an approved consumer product safety action plan. And the reason for this is, one, because it's illegal to sell anything if your name is not on the list. But most importantly, there's a whole bunch of measures that we take when we manufacture an ATV to make sure it's as safe as possible for any of the kids or adults who are riding the units. Okay, one of the other features for our ATV is that we actually have a U.S. Forestry approved spark arrestor that comes with all the units. Basically what that allows you to do is drive into any national forest. It's on the list. If the ranger comes over to you, they'll just look up DRR and they're automatically going to know that it's okay for you to ride in the woods. When we talk about ATVs, suspension is really important, and how that suspension performs when you start comparing it to other ATVs that are out there. When we just look at the gas back shock in the rear, one, it is a gas shock. Two, it's nitrogen filled. Three, it has a remote reservoir. It's rebound adjustable, cushion adjustable, and preload adjustable. This shock, by any other manufacturer, would probably run somewhere around $800, $900 just for the rear shock. And that's air, not even a reservoir shock. Okay, so we talked about the rear shock and how well it's built. But what it really does is it makes the unit ride like a Cadillac. It's going to perform on any surface, and you're going to get all the travel that you need out of that rear swing arm. Okay, we're going to talk about the rear swing arm. The rear swing arm is 2 inches longer than any of the swing arms out there. But what that does is helps keep the bike down and handle better while we're out on the track or on the trails. The square tube swing arms used to be alone almost $800 by themselves. Other manufacturers still use a round tube swing arm. Well, we've gone to a square tube swing arm that's a lot stronger. And as we just walk and point things out, not only does it have a square tube swing arm, but it has a real nice chain tensioner with a roller. And below that, we have a protector to keep the chain tensioner from getting hit on the ground. And then we have a chain guard. We have a chain guard around the back. And then let's just move over to the left-hand side. What you're going to notice about the unit is that it has disc brakes all the way around. We're looking at a wave rotor. And what does a wave rotor do? Well, besides cost about $300 more if it was an aftermarket piece, it throws the dirt and mud out of the brakes, out of the brake caliper, and what that does is gives you a longer brake life, keeps your brakes clean, and allows them to stop when you really need them to stop, because the older style solid rotor that are on most units or drum brakes get full of dirt and they're impossible to stop. Now again, being a disc brake, it takes a lot less hydraulic power to stop this unit, as opposed to drum brakes, which rely on the kid's ability to squeeze on that lever to create stopping power. But a hydraulic brake is a totally different scenario. This braking system came off a big 450. And if it's good enough for a 450 sport bike that weighs 3 times as much, it's absolutely great on a little unit like this. One of the things you're quickly going to notice about our ATVs are that they're the widest out there. The 90cc is 44 inches wide, so that puts it wider than a lot of adult quads. And again, what does the width have to do with anything? Well, it's going to make it a lot more stable. And stability is really important when it comes to ATV riding. We see a lot of the other manufacturers, they're really narrow and they can tip up on their sides, where this has the best tip coefficient out of any youth quad in the entire country. So what we're looking at here, what you can see immediately, is a foot brake. What we've done is applied a foot brake to all of our units. These foot brakes used to cost $300–400. It was an aftermarket piece. Now they come standard on all our units. What you're looking at directly behind the rear foot brake is a slipper sprocket. These slipper sprockets came out and were retailing for about $875, and people were adding them to their units, but we decided we'd put this on the unit stock. What the slipper sprocket does is when the rear wheels spin, and then all of a sudden if they catch real hard, it creates a jolt. It's like a neutral drop in an automatic transmission car. And what happens if you do 2 or 3, or if you're on a surface where you lose grip and then it grips real hard, you're putting a stress through the transmission and you can break the transmission gear. So this avoids that issue, and it comes stock on all our product. So we're going to move from the rear and side of the unit to the front of the unit. And what we're looking at here is dual A-arms. And what do dual A-arms mean? They mean 1, more suspension travel, and 2, an elimination to bump steer. All our competitors have single A-arm units, and all of their units are prone to bump steer. What does that mean? That means as you go over a bump and the wheels go up, the wheels start to point out, okay? And as the compression stops and the shock drops down, the wheels will start to point in. So at any time when your suspension is moving up and down, the wheels are pointing out, pointing in, pointing out, pointing in, and that's called bump steer. But with a dual A-arm, we're able to eliminate the bump steer. Now we talked about the rear gas shock. Let's talk about the front dual gas shocks here. Again, rebound adjustable, cushion adjustable, gas shocks. These are piggyback, and they're also preload adjustable. Again, a setup like this would probably run close to $2,500 just for the 2 front shocks. We get over 7.5 inches of travel on that front bumper just because the shocks are designed to work with a lighter kid. We have the right spring rates on it. They're adjustable, rebound, and cushion. As you notice, there's a reservoir right next to the front shock. Our units are water cooled. Now the water cooling allows more power, more consistent power, and a better product life. If you look directly behind the water pump here, we have an electric start. A lot of units out there are kickstart only or electric start only, but we combine both. We have an electric start, we have a kickstart, and on some of our competitors' unit, the electric start is almost a $400 add-on, and the units are not designed with electric start like what ours are. If we just move up a little bit, we're looking at the throttle control. Throttle control features the ability to adjust how fast the kid can ride. It has a throttle limiter, it has a lock, so it's not going to move. And you can see over here there's a parking brake, and right next to that is a safety tether, and that goes around the kid's wrist or to their chest protector, and what that does is it kills the motor in an event there's something where the child may fall off or start to fall off, and the motor will instantly shut down. It's another safety feature that most have as an add-on, and ours has as a standard unit. Again, another $200 add-on. We've got a fully approved headlight, high and low. It has a parking light, and what that does for you is when you're in the woods, it increases your visibility, because visibility is important as when it comes to riding and being seen by other riders. Another safety feature on the back is the brake light, the tail light. We have a flag stand built in. And then as we come over and we just look at the top of the unit, we've got a gripper seat. And the gripper seat covers, again, were an extra $100. But what does a gripper seat cover do? Well, basically, when it gets wet and it gets muddy, and you're in a nylon motocross outfit, you start to slide all over the seat. Now this, as a gripper seat, description is you're going to still stick to the seat, so you're not going to slide off, and it's going to help with your ATV control. If we look at the handlebars, we can just go through the controls real quick. We've got high-low beam, start, stop, run, electric start. Now the electric start won't be activated unless the brake is on. So there's a safety feature that won't allow the unit to be started unless the brake is applied. We also have a key switch for safety, so to make sure the parents have the keys so the kid doesn't go out for a ride. Okay, so what we've done is we've changed the new front tires. We've actually increased the height by about 1/2 inch, and that's changed the frame geometry a little bit. And that also helps in the handling and the weight distribution and balance of the unit. If we look real hard inside this unit, we can see where the unit, the frame has been gusseted. Again, this is a feature that's on all our ATVs. And again, this used to be an additional $400 or $500 to get the gusseted to help add strength to the chassis. As we walk around here, you can see we have a PWK D-slide carburetor. Again, the most expensive carburetor you can get, but it is the best performing carburetor out there. It is a little finicky, but when it comes to performance, the D-slide is hands down the best flowing, best performing carburetor out there. You can see we have a 2-stage foam air filter with an outer wear, and that's designed to help keep the dirt, water, and dust from getting inside your motor. If we look a little further back, we have a performance intake. The performance intake comes with fiberglass reeds, which helps give it a better snap, better control, better throttle control. Again, these were all add-ons that you would have to do, and they only come standard as features on DRRs. And again, they only come as standard features here on a DRR. If we look a little further down, we've got a temperature warning light. We have a full-size radiator. It's an oversized radiator. It's the actual radiator from a 450, a full-size bike. So it's definitely going to cool this little bike better than our competitors' units. And most of the competitors' units are not water-cooled. If we look underneath, we have a hand-fabricated performance work-style exhaust. And what this does is gives performance where performance is designed to be. It's a CVT, so it keeps the power right at the right range the entire time while you're riding your unit. Again, these pipes were $400 or $500 add-on. They come standard on ours. We have a fully ventilated crankcase. We're looking at this plastic cover, and that's a feature that's unique to our ATVs. What that does is underneath there is a vent and a filter, and that reduces the running temperature inside the clutching system. Okay, so this is a CVT engine, and what a CVT does is take the maximum amount of power and applies it to the rear wheels at any one time. Typically there's a power curve or a torque curve involved in any engine, but a CVT takes you to the maximum torque and stays there, so it appears that the unit has more power, and it puts power down to the ground much, much better. So if we're going to take this apart, we're going to look at the CVT up front. So there's two pieces. There's a clutch system and there's a variator system up front. And basically what we've done is put in a lighter variator system. We've put an advanced clutching system, a performance clutch system. And again, this system would have to be purchased separately for about $400 or $500 just for the front piece. We've taken care of all this. We've got high performance rollers, we've got high performance variator up front, and then we go to the rear. The rear clutch, again, features all the state-of-the-art features and all the things you would have to go out there and spend $400 or $500. It's light and clutch, the springs are correctly done, it's balanced, everything is unique to this unit, is designed to help make it run better. We also have fully enclosed floorboards that are compliant with Consumer Product Safety Guidelines. Again, this is a safety feature. As you look over the ATV, we've been discussing a lot of performance and extra things that you're not going to find on other ATVs, but it has all the warning stickers, it has the toolkit underneath, it has a larger battery, it's got the tail lights, it has everything you need to make your purchase the best, well-informed decision out there.